The table shuddered. Ale splashed over the rim of a mug. Every head in the Grimhorn Tavern turned to the cloaked figure who had just slammed a fist into the oak.
Deal, now.
The innkeep hesitated, his hand hovering over the deck. 8 hands in a row she had lost, and the air around her crackled now like before a thunderstorm.
Deal the cards. Orin, I ain't had a streak like this since the barley blight. Luck's smiling on me tonight.
The spectators around the table, a mix of orc soldiers off duty and local human farmers, exchanged wary glances. No one laughed with the farmer.
Maybe we should call it a night. You've had a hard run, stranger. No shame in walking.
I said, deal. Or shall I reach across and do it myself?
Patrick was already stacking his coins into a teetering tower, laughing at nothing, still not looking at the woman whose fury was building like boiler steam.
This mud-footed human has no idea what sits across from him. That ignorance burns more than the losing.
The cards slid across the stained wood. The 9th hand had begun, and with it, a wager that would crack a kingdom. Before the first card turned, the cloaked player unclasped a silver arm ring and set it beside the growing pile of coin.
That's solid silver. Worth more than your muddy acres. Your move, farmer.
Ha! I got this bracelet from last hand. I'll match that and raise.
Cards flicked over one by one. The drunkard's hand was a mess of beginner's mistakes. And yet, when the last card fell, it completed a straight that beat every other hand at the table.
This is impossible. He's not even playing correctly.
Her fist tightened until the knuckles cracked white. The arm ring was now Patrick's. He turned it over like a lucky charm.
You want another round? I could buy you a drink. You look like you need it.
Deal again. Now, no drinks, no delay. I am not done.
A murmur ran through the crowd. Some slipped out the door. The few who stayed whispered the same word, orc. The cloaked figure reached behind her shoulder, unsheathed a blade etched with runes, and laid it across the stakes.
Steel seals this round, unless the farmer's luck runs out of nerve.
You are betting your sword? What? You gonna fight me if you lose?
The innkeep, Orin, tried to speak, but the words died in his throat. He dealt. The cards fell like a cruel joke. Patrick had nothing, until the final card gifted him a flush.
This cannot be chance. He's touched by some cursed spirit.
She lunged forward, the motion knocking her hood back. The candlelight caught the curve of 2 white tusks and the sharp, aristocratic bones of an orc face.
Hey, you are an orc. A real big one. Didn't know they let you folks gamble in here.
The remaining patrons grabbed their belongings and fled. Only Orin stood frozen behind the bar, his hand shaking around a cleaning rag.
The sword stays. Your winnings stay. We play again. Now.
She did not reach for the cards. Instead, she pulled the hood fully back and unclasped a circlet from her brow.
You've taken my arm ring, my sword. Now I wager this.
The impact of the crown against the wood was the only sound. Orin's rag dropped.
I am Drazga Vernok, warlord of the 3 legions. This crown wagers my kingdom.
Patrick's mug slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor.
You are the warlord. I thought you were just some drunk orc soldier.
Draw, farmer. Or do you fear luck won't save you now?
He stared at the crown. A kingdom's weight reduced to a trinket on a beer-stained table.
This is madness. I can't bet against a crown. I ain't got nothing to match it.
You match it with your life. If you lose, you serve me until death. Deal the cards, Orin.
Before Orin's trembling fingers could lift a card, the shadows in the corners detached into armored shapes. 6 orc soldiers, led by a scarred captain with a ceremonial axe, stepped into the candlelight and surrounded the table.
The warlord has spoken. The terms are witnessed. Deal, innkeep, or you will join the stakes.
You see, farmer, this is not a request. It's a command.
This ain't fair. I didn't agree to this. You can't just...
We can. The warlord's honor is absolute. Draw, or forfeit your life right now.
Orin's hand finally closed over the deck. He began to deal, each card a heartbeat of silence.
Let this cursed luck break. One hand is all I need.
I am going to die for a game I barely know how to play.
The first 3 cards lay face down between them. The game for a crown had begun. One by one, the cards turned. Drazga's hand formed a brutal line of warriors and warhammers. Patrick's cards were a jumble of mismatched peasants and broken tools. A hand with no spine. Then the final card left Orin's trembling fingers and floated to the wood. When it turned, it was a grinning fool. The only card that could topple a warlord. Drazga's hand, empty of its final hope, lay like a broken oath.
I lost to him. The world has gone mad.
Olgar's jaw tightened. The scar across his throat seemed to deepen.
The crown is his. The warlord's wager is witnessed and sealed.
This is a nightmare. I never wanted a kingdom. Take it back.
But Drazga's face was stone. The kingdom had already changed hands. The scarred captain, Olgar, lowered himself to one knee with the sound of settling armor. The 5 soldiers behind him followed without hesitation.
By the code of my ancestors, witnessed by 20 soldiers, I abdicate. The crown is no longer mine.
Patrick snatched the circlet from the table and thrust it toward her, his hands shaking.
Please, just take it. I am a farmer. I don't know how to rule. This was a drunk mistake.
Mistake or not, it is done. My honor will not permit me to reclaim what was fairly lost.
He let the crown fall back onto the stained wood. It rolled against a spilled mug and lay still.
The legions require a warlord. If you refuse, the border will burn and both our bloodlines will pay.
My fields, my barley, my whole life, gone because I sat at the wrong table.
You will come with us to the fortress. The council will hear the oath, refuse again, and it is your head, not your honor.
Patrick's fingers closed around the circlet once more. Not in acceptance, but in surrender to an honor. He couldn't fight. The silence in the Grimhorn stretched like a drawn bow, every soldier waiting for the farmer's answer.
I am warlord now, right? Then I order you, take the crown back.
You could try, but the council would demand your head. Without a proper oath, the legions splinter.
And that war will not stay inside Orc borders. Your grain fields will become battlefields.
Every choice leads to death for someone. This crown is a curse on my head.
The only road to survival is that council chamber. Accept it, or die now.
He saw their faces, not soldiers, but men whose families would die if he balked.
Fine, I'll go. But I ain't promising I'll be good at it.
We move now. The council convenes at dawn. Do not shame the warlord's last command.
The tavern door opened onto a black road. Patrick stepped into the night, leaving behind everything he'd ever known. The council hall was a cavern of obsidian, its walls sweating ancient torchlight. 7 elders sat in curved thrones. Vorn, the eldest, presided, his beard a silver root. Olgar stood in the center, his voice stripped of everything human, recounting the wager.
Drazga Vunok staked her crown. Command and name against a human farmer called Patrick. I witnessed the terms.
I confirm it. The loss is mine, with no excuse.
The elders turned, and the weight of 10,000 laws pressed on Patrick.
This cold chamber is my grave. They'll kill me.
Vorn raised one hand. All whispers died on the instant.
The law is indisputable. The crown passes. Now we must decide how.
The silence deepened, thick as drowning. Patrick felt his pulse in his throat. Through the high windows, dawn bled gray to iron. No one moved. Vorn rose. The staff in his hand struck stone once, and the sound sealed every breath.
By the stone covenant, Witnessed and unbroken, Patrick of the human fields is now warlord of the 3 legions.
Patrick stepped forward, the crown still cold in his palm, and asked leave to speak.
Make me warlord in name only. Let Drazga command the legions. Together we end the wars, not start new ones.
The council chamber turned into a storm of turned heads. No human had ever offered to share a throne.
He is either a fool or the bravest man I have ever faced. I cannot decide which.
You would split the crown like a loaf of bread. The law does not provide for such arrangements.
Then the law needs a new page. I won't rule by destroying everything that came before.
For a long moment, no elder spoke. The torches guttered. The proposal hung in the air like a blade, and no one yet knew which neck it would fall upon. An elder to the left slammed a fist on the armrest. Dishonor. A human cannot hold a warlord's crown. Another voice, brittle as old leather, rang, better to splinter than to serve a human. Strength is the only law.
Strength that shatters the stone is no strength at all. We adapt, or we crumble. The human's offer is unprecedented, but the law bends to survival. I accept the shared rule.
Drazga Vernok is confirmed as commander of the 3 legions. Not one elder dares dissent after Vorn's word.
Then I accept. But I swear this, the killing ends. Both sides.
The legions will follow my command. But you, farmer, will learn that peace is a harder war.
They clasped forearms, orc and human, warrior and farmer. A pact sealed not in blood, but in necessity. The council chamber emptied, torches sputtering. A new order had been stitched from a drunken wager. Outside, the morning sun struck the fortress walls, and for the first time in a generation, the war drums fell silent. The road to the human lords was a ribbon of mud and mistrust, flanked by the graves of old truces. The eldest human lord, his eyes worn from decades of war, slammed a fist on the map.
You want to know why to trust us? Because I am a farmer, and farmers don't win by burning the field.
And I will personally ensure any breach is answered with steel. You have my word as commander.
The room froze. Then the eldest lord exhaled a laugh, the first sound not born of anger in that hall for a decade.
We propose the contested border becomes neutral ground, farmed by both our people, not fought over.
The legions withdraw. The human forts dismantle. It's not trust, it's math. Both sides lose if this continues.
Quills scratched parchment. Hour after hour, they hammered out the details of a peace no one had dared to write. By evening, the treaty bore 12 signatures and a single wax seal bearing both the broken crown and the barley sheaf. The border was quiet that night. No alarms, no torches, only the sound of a plow being pulled across a field no longer contested. Months bled into seasons, and the border bloomed into something that looked almost like trust. In the fortress, the great hall echoed no longer with war councils, but with grain disputes and water rights.
The grain tax is unfair. Farmers on the orc side pay half what ours do. If we equalize, it funds the bridge both communities need.
Drazga watched from the archway. The same man who couldn't hold his ale had just rewritten trade law.
He's still a fool, but it's the fool who takes the crown and uses it to feed children.
On the practice yard, she pushed her troops harder than ever, her voice a whip across the stone. But her eyes kept sliding to the row of windows that faced the council wing, where his silhouette moved behind glass. At dusk, they walked the ramparts. The crown sat unused in a locked chest, an absence both felt but neither named.
When I lost that card game, I thought I'd simply kill you later. I didn't plan to enjoy the governance.
She stared at the darkening fields, and something shifted, a war that had nothing to do with legions. That night, she found Olgar in the armory, oiling his axe, as if polishing a memory.
I've commanded legions, broken sieges, but this human farmer has me by the throat.
By the throat, Commander, or by the heart.
I want my crown back. Not by steel, not by betrayal, through union.
Marriage to a human. The elders will howl.
They howled when I lost the crown. They're still standing, so am I.
Ulgar set down the axe. He saw the resolve. Then I'll have the scribes draw up a marriage pact. If he agrees...
If he agrees. 2 words that weigh more than any warhammer.
Before dawn, she sent a summons to Patrick, requesting a private audience in the war room. She stood at the door of the war chamber, hand on the handle, and drew one steadying breath. She pushed the door open. Patrick stood by the window, his back to her, shoulders tight as if expecting a blow.
You sent for me, Commander. That's never a casual invitation.
Drazga crossed to the table and lit a candle, needing the ritual to steady herself.
I've been thinking about the crown. It sits in a chest while the kingdom needs a symbol.
We agreed. It stays locked. You said peace was a harder war.
War, I know. What I feel now is not war.
She saw the flicker of uncomprehending hope in his eyes, and the iron command within her shattered.
I cannot bear the lie between us. I want my crown back, only through union with you.
The candle guttered. Neither of them breathed. Her words lay in the room like a blade on a gambling table. And once more, she had wagered everything. She did something no Orc Warlord had ever done. She lowered herself to one knee.
Patrick of the Fields, I offer you my sword, my name, and the crown that sits in that chest. Marry me.
Patrick's mouth opened, but no sound came. A farmer being gifted a kingdom by the woman who'd once threatened his life. He took her hand, the same hand that had clawed through battles, and felt it tremble.
Yes, I don't know how to wear a crown, but I know how to stand beside you.
She rose, and for a suspended moment, the warlord and the farmer simply looked at each other. 2 species, 1 promise. Then he stepped into her arms, and she held him like something worth more than any crown.
I wagered my crown that night and lost everything. But now I've won more than I ever gambled.
She pulled back just enough to let him see the smile, the first unarmored one she'd worn in years. The betrothal was not merely sealed, it was forged. A card game had become a foundation. At noon, the herald cried the news. The square fell into a stunned mutter. Some cheered, some turned away. But the fortress gates opened for all to witness. Within days, the great hall was stripped of war trophies and hung with garlands.
No red silk, no weapons on the dais. This is a union, not a surrender.
I want barley sheaves. They're lucky, and they don't forget the soil.
The marriage dais was carved overnight, roots of iron and grain woven together. Drazga donned her wedding armor. The plates shone with inlaid wheat stalks.
I've worn armor into battle. This one feels heavier, but it doesn't hurt.
Patrick tugged at his collar. The tunic was too fine, but the fabric smelled of harvest. Horns tore the morning quiet. The doors opened, and a world held its breath. Drazga took her place opposite Patrick as the officiant raised his hands. The hall was a held breath.
I, Drazga Vernok, pledge my sword, my shield, and my unyielding will to this union. For peace, for the crown.
I, Patrick of the barley fields, pledge my hands, my fields, and my stubborn hope for the soil, for the future.
They exchanged rings forged from the same metal as the treaty seal. Then Patrick lifted the circlet from the velvet pillow. The crown that had been lost on a gambling table, now offered back through marriage. He set it gently on her brow. It caught the light and every eye in the hall.
I am Drazga Vernok, warlord of the 3 legions, reclaimed not by blood, but by union.
The hall erupted. Orc Wark rise and human cheers tangled into a single roar. She pulled him into the kiss that sealed the wager and the marriage. The final card played, and won by both. Long tables groaned under platters of roast boar and barley bread, orc grog sloshing beside human ale.
To the warlord who lost a tavern game, and the farmer who won a kingdom. To the commander who bent the law to save us all, and to the human who taught us peace.
Drazga led Patrick onto the floor, her armored hand gentle in his calloused palm.
You dance like a sack of turnips, farmer, but I'd rather have no other.
And you tread like a warhorse, but my toes will survive.
Orc warriors shared salt with human farmers. Old women traded recipes.
To the soil that feeds us, to the rain that doesn't ask what tusks you have.
Tonight, we are not orc or human. We are the kingdom that a card game built.
The fires burned low, but the laughter lingered until the last torch sputtered. Dawn spilled honey gold across the fortress ramparts. The kingdom still slept off the wedding wine. Patrick stood at the stone rail, his wedding tunic unlaced, the crown absent from his brow.
You are up early, farmer. Already tired of the throne?
Just wanted to see the fields. Never thought I'd watch my own border from this side.
The card game feels like a lifetime ago. That night, I was ready to kill you.
Best mistake I ever made. I'll take bad luck over good planning any day.
They watched the sun stretch over a land that no longer knew a border. The new banner below bore a crown and a sheaf of barley.
So, what will you plant first, Farmer King?
Barley. Always barley. But I'll add a row for Orc Spice Pod. Ulgar says it grows well in clay.
And for the first time since she had worn it, the crown on her brow felt light, a symbol not of rule, but of union. The crown rests on the table between them, not locked away anymore. Sunlight catches the gold. The iron band is cool. In the hall, the map of the border has been redrawn in ink made from ashes of old treaties. The land breathes. Farmers walk onto fields that were battle lines. Orc children and human children play in the same stream. The tavern, where it began, still serves ale, but no one gambles for kingdoms anymore. They tell the story instead. The warlord who bet her crown, and the farmer who won it. Not a fairy tale, a map, a small thing that changed a continent. Sometimes a single card is all it takes to break a cycle. The crown sits on the table. It belongs to both, and to neither. Orc and human children race through the capital's streets, their shrieks bouncing off the fortress walls. Above them, the twin banners, crown and barley sheaf, snap in a warm wind. The sun sets over fields that were once contested mud. Now they grow wheat for both. In the Grimhorn Tavern, a small bronze plaque is nailed to the card table. It reads, "Here on a foul-tempered night, a kingdom was won and a war ended. The innkeep, Orin, polishes it every morning with the same rag he dropped that night." Far away, in the fortress, Drazga and Patrick sit on the balcony, watching the children play. She doesn't wear the crown. It's on the table between them, but neither reaches for it. The night is quiet, the realm whole. History will call it the Fool's Accord. In a border tavern, a card game cracked open a new world.